Welcome to our presentation this afternoon. I believe that our speaker is here, and so I am very excited to have you all join us this evening. Um, this is a phenomenal session because we are actually launching this special program exclusively for attorneys who are either looking to expand your practice area or really drill down and focus on intellectual property. You are in for a treat because you have signed up to listen to an individual who's very passionate about this category, very passionate about intellectual property, very excited to be uh, sharing uh, over 15 years of IP practice, as well as the passion for assisting other attorneys in this unique niche area. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Zenga Wasemi, who is currently the director of the Artworks Legal Residency Program here at Artworks. Join us as we bring her forward. Mr. Wasemi, are you there with us?
Yeah, but it says the host. Oh, there I am. Thank you. Trying to get this lighting just right here. So are we ready to get started or?
We are absolutely ready.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm not one for too much small talk. Do you want to give an intro of the program or be ready to go?
We're ready to go. We kind of let everybody know what we're here to do today already as you were getting signed in. And so we're very excited for you to dive right into the presentation.
All right, very good. So let me pull it up. If I can pull it up. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this session today, we're talking about growing your legal services revenue with intellectual property. And although we're focusing on revenue, because we got to focus on revenue, I'm really hoping to just hone in, target attorneys that are all about service, right? We know that when we put our heart and our passion into our work, or when we focus our work on our what's on our heart and our passion, the revenue flows. So yes, this is absolutely lucrative career that we're going to be exploring today. But I want to share some information with you about this practice area and about what's going on right now in the world of intellectual property law on the federal level, on the global level, and definitely on the local level. So first, congratulations. I want to congratulate you for showing up. You know, we are in some interesting times now. They're constantly evolving, particularly on the heels of 2020. And so, you know, you're taking a big step here by investing in yourself. And, you know, time is money. So if you're here today, you are absolutely investing in yourself and in your profession. So today, we will be talking about how to connect with creatives, right? So when we talk about intellectual property, we're focusing on clients that create, whether it's a song, a book, a movie, right? Whether it's a gadget or some sort of technology. We want to connect with them. And how do we do that? We're going to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about mastering emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, or EQ, it's a big word right now, not so much in the legal community, so I want to bring it. We need to talk about emotional intelligence, particularly in how we provide the service. How do we serve? And then we're going to talk about working with those emotionally charged clients, as well as, you know, if you happen to be in the situation where you have opposing counsel or USPTO examiner or a judge, how do you work with emotionally charged people, to convey confidence and actually steer the energy of the meeting to a favorable end. So, what is Artworks? A lot of you probably know about Artworks already. You're probably on our email list, our newsletter list, and you get information from time to time. But those that don't know, Artworks is a division of Mercatech Development Institute. Mercatech is an IRS designated 501c3 organization on a mission to provide job training, job creation, economic advocacy, and particularly access to legal services. So, a friend of mine is always quoting Mark Twain, always. And this particular quote here just really stuck with me, where Mark Twain said the two most important days in a person's life is one, the day you were born, and two, the day you figure out why. So our mission is our why, right? And so I have in parentheses story. I can tell you so many stories about how Artworks came to be. It should say stories, how Artworks came to be, the mission to support creatives, right? We believe at Artworks that the dreamers, right, they are the saviors of the world. And I know that can come across as a little bit woo-woo or not logical or intellectual enough for us, particularly in this industry, but it's important, right? Because without the creatives, people, we don't have music, we don't have fashion, and let's go back to music. We don't have music or a device to play it on, right? So that's our mission, and that's where the passion lies so much with Artworks and the individuals that work with us. So hopefully you're in alignment with that. We are absolutely hoping to connect with attorneys that understand and also hold that dear to their hearts to protect creatives. So a lot of times we'll get the question, what is intellectual property? It's very deep and wide, right? So I have a little picture here. Someone sent me of a baby, because usually when I ask what is intellectual property when we're doing our training and I'm teaching about it, right away people are going trying to Google it so they can have the perfect thing to say. What is intellectual property? So we're going to cover it briefly here, so you don't have to Google, you can just listen. So the World Intellectual Property Organization defines intellectual property as creations of the mind, right? Such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images, and more used in commerce. So really, when you look at that, we're talking about inventions, right? Books, music, artistic works of all types, names, symbols, designs, images. And the key phrase here is used in commerce. And we're going to circle back to that because that's very important. A lot of times we can define creations or creative works, but the rules of intellectual property law do not extend to just any old creation. They must be used in commerce. So what is your role, or what is our role really? I get that question sometimes when I get excited and I start talking about creatives and, you know, how important they are to our society and the world. You know, sometimes attorneys like, okay, so what's my job here? Why are we, you know, what is my role? Your role is very important as an attorney. It's very important, right? Because intellectual property attorneys protect musicians. I keep talking about this music because that's the easiest one in my brain right now. Protect businesses, protect fashion designers, and more, right? So we talk about technology. We can talk about anything that falls in the realm of commerce, and we know there's some intellectual property somewhere in there. So our job is to review, research, and provide guidance. This is super important. To protect intellectual property, these assets must be registered. And before they can be properly registered, you have to do a thorough review. When your client sits down in front of you and they show you what their work is, you need to know how to review it and what to look for. to give them just a preliminary, like within the first 15 minutes. At Artworks, we talk about that. In 15 minutes, you ought to know whether this work is protectable, right? And in what category. Then you got to do some research. You need to know how to do the research, and most important, to provide guidance. And I think that is so important because a lot of times attorneys know a lot about intellectual property in terms of what the rules are, right? So a client comes to you and they said, okay, this is what I want. I want a trademark. And you look at it, you see a mark there, and you get to work right away creating a trademark or the trademark application for them. You want to provide guidance. You need to be in a position to know whether that item should be registered as a trademark, not just can it be registered. So that's the guidance that we provide. See, we do a lot of work. It's important. So this meaning the guidance piece, this requires all legal professionals to have knowledge of the nuances of intellectual property. You got to know the ins and outs of it enough that when you see the work your client puts before you, or it may not be a client, suppose it's just someone you met at a party and you're sitting and chatting, you need to be able to listen and do an assessment within 10 to 15 minutes and know where that item can fall in the intellectual property, and then know the nuances. So let's go really quickly through the different types. We know there's copyrights. I'm just going to read it off, not only read it off, I'm going to say it off the top of my head. Copyrights, trademarks, patents, those are the ones we're going to cover now. We can, the Q&A, if you want to get into some trade dress and some trade secrets, but right now we're just going to talk about copyrights, trademarks, and patents. So the Copyright Act provides the rights of business owners, authors, artists, musicians, designers, and architects. It protects their rights to the things that they have created once this work is properly registered. As far as trademarks, that can be a word, a symbol, a phrase, anything that puts the public on notice of where these goods and services came from, right? So when you see the Golden Arches, I say this all the time, when you see the Golden Arches, you don't wonder where your fries came from, right? You don't wonder. When you hear, because remember, it can be a sound as well. If you hear, what's the song that goes with the Golden Arches? Da 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 da, I'm loving it. When you hear that, you know where your fries came from, right? So that's what trademark law protects. Then you have patents, and this is all about protecting the rights for inventors. So inventors, they come up with something novel. You're going to be able to look at what their work is and be able to give them guidance as to whether or not it can be protected. Sometimes there's a novel idea that they have, or something, maybe they even have a prototype for you to review, but there are some rules to whether or not that can be registered, even if it's a new idea. For example, if you have a client or a friend or anyone that you're providing guidance to, and they show you, this new item that was created, and you run an assessment through your mind. Okay, you ask a few questions, and within 15 minutes, you'll know whether or not you need to move past into preliminary research and then more research, right? You'll know. But the question you need to ask before you go any further is whether or not they've sold that item to anyone. Because with patents, if it's already in commerce, it's not going to be able to be registered. That's one of the important nuances. And I'm not going to bore you all with all of the nuances for each area of intellectual property. Just doing a quick overview because today's presentation is not so much about intellectual property per se. It's about why IP attorneys are needed and necessary right now more than ever. And also business formation. I don't know how I forgot that. I said copyrights, trademarks, patents, but business formation, because the type or structure of a business is important to intellectual property. The structure affects how taxes are paid, how liabilities are determined, and IP is an asset that can offset liabilities. So when I talked earlier about giving guidance, you got to really speak to your client and utilize the tools called compassionate communication, and do that to understand what their goals are. And then you'll be able to decide what form of entity they should be if they're not already registered as an LLC, LLP, a corporation. Those are the type of things you have to focus on, even dealing with intellectual property, or even very important, not even if, but especially because IP is an asset. So the part that I want to focus on, now that we top leveled what is IP, let's talk about why we're here today. I want to talk to you about why it is important now more than ever for legal professionals to have this knowledge. Why? First of all, the number of businesses skyrocketed. Look at this right here. Just take a second and scan this. Right, 2017 to, let's look at third quarter in 2020. At the height of the pandemic, almost 80% increase in business applications in the third quarter of 2020. This is at the height of the pandemic. The number of people creating businesses has skyrocketed. I can't say that enough. The number of people creating businesses has skyrocketed. And this is important to intellectual property because, as I said earlier, no business can exist without intellectual property. It just can't. So the fact that businesses are going up, skyrocketing, we know we need, just knowing that right away, you know there needs to be more attorneys practicing this. Take a look at that. Just to give you another visual to hammer home the point. Look at that third quarter in 2020. So overall, there's been a significant leap, approximately 80% in applications, just in a matter of months, right? Let's see if we can go back. So if you look at the first quarter of 2020, I would say, let's go to the second quarter of 2020. So in a matter, between June and March, February, March, June and March and June, look at that increase in just a matter of weeks. And this number has not gone down. Look at this. So why it is important now? I can't say this enough. We need more intellectual property attorneys to meet the demands of those businesses. Whenever, and you see I have no graphic here because I need to focus on the words. Whenever there is an increase in activity in any industry, there's an increase of fraudulent activity. Today, with more online transactions, there is an increase of this fraudulent behavior. Think about that. So businesses are skyrocketing, fraud is skyrocketing, and there are not enough attorneys out there to handle it. And the thing is, even before 2020, the USPTO and the WIPO and other institutions have been saying there aren't enough attorneys to take care of this. What do you think now? Now that we have an 80% increase, what do you think? So let's talk about this fraud. I'm sure some of you are aware, you may be aware, there's been a 172% increase in trademark applications. 172% increase in trademark applications. It makes sense though, right? Because when we talk about businesses being formed, they're coming with IP. Then you have the TMA, or the Trademark Modernization Act. This is the USPTO. This is the legislature saying we have to do something about this, right? So there's legislation that's bringing changes to protocols and how business is done. And it's also to focus on the fraud. So for at least a decade of me and being in this business, at least, as IP attorneys, we get these alerts from the USPTO that talks about these online legal service websites. Oh, beware, and it's constantly warning us, but we're the attorneys. It's not for us. They're letting us know so that we can help. So our job is to be a helping hand, to make ourselves known. My personal calling or passion is for more IP attorneys to be there, to protect and to serve, to give a helping hand to those businesses, those creative people out there that need us. So let's talk about the legal service websites. Just do a cursory research, right? And you were going to find that some of these online owners of online sites have been arrested due to this fraud, because more people are in their home, more people are doing online transactions, more people have less access to attorneys to help them. They think they can get it done online. Now, like I said, this has been going on over a decade, even more so now following 2020. And so there's an example of one website, just one, and I'm really thinking about doing a study of all of them, or as many as I can. This is just one that we looked at. Out of 3,700, almost 4,000 applications, right? Only 59 have been approved. But people are paying their money, they're going online, they're filling out the forms, and they think they have a trademark. In this instance, we're talking about trademarks. They think they have a trademark. And I know they think they have a trademark. How do I know? Because we have, and I'm not laughing at them, I'm just like, it's like an almost unbelievable, I can't believe it. So many of our clients that walk through the doors or come into these web conferences with us are alum, as I call them, the alum of the website Legal Services. They could have sworn they had a trademark. They didn't, but they paid their money, right? We need more IP attorneys. So you have, as I said, trademark applications increase, more than 170% increase. So we need specially trained IP professionals. We need you. And this guy, you look at him and it's silly. It looks a little silly. He's standing there with the cape on. But the truth is, we are on the front line of protection. We are. Creators want to create, right? They don't want to be having the hassle of double checking and making sure these online websites are properly protecting their work. They don't want to do it, and they're not doing it. They're just wasting their money. And then they get into trouble along the lines when they find out they don't have any of their work registered. Now think about this. Remember earlier when I talked about a patent, and I didn't get into the details of how you do an analysis of a patent, and I'm not going to do that here. Once again, I'm talking about why you're important to these creatives today. That's what we're talking about. So when you think about someone that's gone online to complete a patent application, they can fill out the form. The form can be submitted to the USPTO and be rejected. The creative person doesn't know that. They know that they got a notice that says we filed your application. They take that perception of protection and then they go ahead and bring their invention or whatever their creation is to market, not even realizing that is effectively eliminating them for the ability to apply for a patent. Remember what I said earlier, if you bring your invention to market without at least a provisional patent, you remove yourself from being eligible for a patent ever. They don't know this. How would they know this? Most attorneys don't know it. So in order to be a protector, or in order to serve, you don't want to be out there doing trial by error. Trial by error is not the right approach. You need proper training, resources, and support. This is needed to navigate this ever-changing field. It's ever-changing. I just told you about the Trademark Modernization Act, right? And we don't just have the Trademark Modernization Act. You got the Copyright Modernization. All of these rules are constantly changing to address what's going on. If we even look at the copyright rules, you know how many times they've had to modify it? Originally, copyright didn't contemplate television. Okay, so now we got to change. Every time there's a spike in technology or any common or not common, fashionable, I'll put it that way, fashionable use of technology, the rules have to be changed. You don't want to do about trial and error, because I just talked to you about online legal service providers. I talked about them because the ones that I just discussed are some of the biggest problems, the biggest, just very sad situations when I think about it. But do you know, we get clients that come to Artworks that have actually worked with attorneys that didn't know what they were doing. The nuances of IP can spin you on your head if you don't have the proper training, right? If you don't have the resources and the support to navigate this, then you're going to make all kinds of problems. And it won't be just the website legal service providers, it will also be attorneys. So we have a three-pronged approach here at Artworks to help you, or any legal professional, even IP paralegals, right? It's going to help you reduce potential legal errors. We don't want legal errors. We don't want them. And you don't have to make them. You don't have to make them if you follow a certain approach, okay? So we want to help you reduce the potential for legal errors. And then increase client engagement and retention. So earlier, one of the points that I said we're going to talk about is clients, how to connect with them and confidently convey your competency, right? That's client engagement and retention. And then give you some specialized training if you want it, right? So like I said, today, we're not going to go into the nuances of IP in particular, but you need it. You need specialized training. You need what we call the roadmap to reduce potential legal errors. And you need a little assistance to increase client engagement and retention. And when I say you, I mean us all. Legal professionals, we need this. If we're going to provide an excellent service, we need this. Let me start saying we, so anybody out there doesn't think I'm pointing fingers. So let me give you a testimonial. I didn't know this was going to pop up next, but Samantha says, I couldn't have gotten this position without your influence. I'm so appreciative of you and your work. So Artworks, as I said, helps you connect with creatives. I'm going to give you the roadmap to connect with creatives. Master emotional intelligence, or EQ, and create confidence. And work with emotionally charged clients and opposing counsel. I wish I could go back to that slide there. Yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Samantha. Samantha came to Artworks and graduated law school, of course. And the interesting thing about Samantha is that she opened up Artworks' vision for who we could serve within the legal community, because prior to Samantha, we were focusing on people that were already focused on doing IP and opening up their own firms. We were also focusing on attorneys that just need a little training in the different levels of intellectual property, but we didn't really look at those that, like Samantha, she had an idea, she wanted to go to Sony, right? So we were able to see that the program can fit, right? It can fit whether you are seeking to expand your own practice, and that's one of the sweet spots we have here at Artworks. People that just come in, want to get the information that they need, open up another practice area. Maybe they're doing, what's a good complementary practice area? Definitely business law, right? They're doing business law and then they just want to add some IP. Or maybe they're doing commercial litigation. IP comes up there and they want to add a practice area. Or you may have an attorney. We've had attorneys that are doing something far-fetched from IP, like family law, and they want to make a clean break from that because they want to do something different. But we didn't contemplate, what about that new law graduate? So the very interesting thing about Samantha is that she mastered emotional intelligence, right? And it gave her so much confidence that she was able to apply for this position, focus on her dream job was, right? Apply there, get the job even before she passed the bar, right? Because this was soon after law school, and land this position working with emotionally charged clients, and not so much opposing counsel, but with people on her team where she's supervising them, right? And so this was the point, to connect with creatives, master EQ, work with emotionally charged clients and or opposing counsel. Why? Why do you want to do that? So that you can grow your practice and revenue by filling the gap and high demand for intellectual property attorneys. I just explained to you about the high demand, right? So Artworks bridges the gap. And I kind of feel like, let me make sure. Yep, Artworks bridges the gap. And I like this. Someone on our team sent over this graphic there, and I love it. Look at that. It's silly when you think of the red cape, but when you actually think about how many creatives are being taken advantage of because they don't have the protection they need, it's not so funny when you think of it that way. So Artworks will help you. We have a program that will help you, of course, understand the nuances of intellectual property. We go into that. We spend a lot of time breaking that down. But more importantly, become one of the best intellectual property specialists. And we're not even supposed to use the term specialist. So off the record, specialists, right? Help you cultivate a lucrative career while protecting creatives. So I love this vision here, this visual, here, because that's what we do. Every day we have someone that comes into Artworks every single day, at least a couple of times a week, but more likely every single day, where they need protection and they need IP services. And maybe they went to an attorney that really didn't know what they were doing. Maybe they went online and tried to do it themselves. Maybe. Either way, we know there is a need for IP attorneys. So now, what takes many years to learn, which is all those nuances that I don't want to get into, but it's neatly packaged in a step-by-step modules that reduce the learning curve from years to months. Years to months. And we all want to save time, right? And if you're here, I know that you want to serve. And if you're here, I know you want to expand your career, right? So we want to save time getting there. So our program is divided into 3 modules: copyright, trademark, patents, and you can do all 3, where you're going to learn the nuances of all 3, or you can just do one. Maybe you're coming in, you're like, you know what, I'm really into music. I want to get into publishing. I want to protect singer-songwriters. Let me focus on copyright. For each module, you will get an overview of intellectual property, so that even if you say you only want to do copyright, if your client brings a trademark to you, you'll know what it is, you'll know how to analyze it. Even if you don't want to do it, you'll be able to talk about it. And I just had to mention that because sometimes we get people, particularly when it comes to patent, I don't know anything about it, I don't want to do it, I'm fine with copyright. You still got to understand what a patent is, and you still got to understand on the top, what that examination process will be for patent application, not so that you can fill out one, or not that you can provide the service, but so that you can talk like a competent attorney with your client, even if you refer it out. So that's what the program is. And here's another attorney here. He moved from a practice in Israel to the US, and he said Artworks is just what he needed. He said it was a respectful environment where he learned the importance of communication. So remember, we talked earlier, connecting with creatives, that's communication. We talk about communication all day, every day at Artworks. It's so important to be able to connect with creatives, as well as to use emotional, the emotional intelligence to connect with opposing counsel, USPTO examiner, a judge, each other. So we talk about communication a lot, and I was glad that he sent this in because it lets me know that he got it. So we talked about Samantha. And so by now, you should understand, just from those charts that I showed you, the demand for intellectual property attorneys. And it's so important. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my personal passion. When I see someone, someone shared with me a story a couple of weeks ago about a young, I don't want to say young boy, young man, because he's, I think he's just finishing high school. But for a while, he and his sister, they were working on an app, and they've been working on it for a long time and perfecting it. And somehow, they moved it or they shared it with somebody in their excitement, and someone came along with deep pockets and a little bit of clout in the industry, and they replicated that app. And not only did they replicate the app, because now we're into, I'm glad I'm talking about app, because then I can use app because that applies to all forms of intellectual property, right? So you can copyright an app. You can trademark the name for the app. You can register that app and get a patent for it. This poor young man and his sister, they missed out on all of that just because they didn't know, or they didn't have the resources or whatever. And someone came along, and not only did they duplicate the app to the T, they also took the name, tweaked it a little bit, but they took the name. I think about people like that. Those are the people that walk through the doors of artworks all the time. So when I say there's been an 80% increase in business applications, and that's just in applications, we know there's been more than an 80% increase in business formations. Maybe they haven't been registered yet. We all know people that start a business, and they're in business for a minute sometimes before they even register the entity. But if the study's saying there's been an 80% increase in applications for business formations, we know many more than that haven't even been registered. And if we know that there's been 172% increase in trademark applications, not trademark granted or registered, but just applications, we know that there's a demand for intellectual property attorneys. We know this. I hope you get that right now. So there's a need in the community of creatives for attorneys that want to serve and protect them. There's a need. Think about your favorite song. Think about that. Think about your favorite book. Think about your favorite fashion designer. Think about your favorite gadget. What's the new phone that's coming out? Think about all the things that we use on a daily basis. Those are the things of creatives. Without the creatives, like, all is lost. And I don't want to sound all dramatic, but it's true. So when I say think about your favorite song, there's a song, that's copyright. There's a device, that's a patent, right? There's the name for the company, or there's a slogan that goes with it, that's a trademark. All of these things come into play, and there's a need in the community of creatives for us. And then, of course, there's an opportunity to increase your revenue. Think about it. You have an 80% increase in business applications. You have 172% increase in trademark applications. Again, not trademarked, registered. So what's going to happen to that? Okay, so let me round it up. That's 4,000 applications. Oh, how interesting. I have a old school calculator sitting in front of me. So how interesting is that? It's 4,000 applications. Out of 4,000, what was it, 57, 59? Let's round it up to 60. 60 have been approved. What's going to happen to all the other ones? They're going to need you to fix it. They're going to need you. A lot of times we don't get clients to come through Artworks at the very beginning. A lot of times they've been burned. So that's why you got to master that emotional intelligence to be able to connect with people beyond their fear, the fear of wasting their money, the fear of being hurt, the fear of losing out on IP rights. They're coming through Artworks, right? So all of those applications that aren't approved, they're either going to have to be refiled by who? You, right? Because right now, on the federal level, there's been a crackdown on these website service providers. Been a crackdown. I told you in a few slides earlier that some of the owners of these businesses have been arrested. Okay, there's been a crackdown. So where are all of these thousands of applications? And you know what? That was from one website. Let me underscore, that's from one website, the 4,000. That's just one. I didn't even get into all the others. I thought, let me just use this one as an example and hopefully I'll hit home. So where are they going to go? What are they going to do? They need you. So there's a demand for IP attorneys and attorneys that know what they're doing. And there's a need in the community of creatives to be protected and supported. And for you, there's an opportunity to increase revenue. Of course, there's an 80% increase in businesses, applications, right? So all those businesses are going to need IP protection. In addition to that, what about the businesses that are still coming through or the ones that are operating without registration? They need you. That's how you're going to increase your revenue because of your commitment to serve. And, you know, I want you to know, at least by now, you should know that there's an answer that reduce the years of study of the nuances of IP to mere months or weeks, depending on how brilliant you are. There's an answer. So let me do a quick summary. By now, you should see, a blind person could see that there's a demand for IP attorneys. By now, you should see there's a need in the community of creatives. Forget the community of creatives. Let me not couch it in just the community of creatives. There's a need in the world, right? That these people need to be protected and they need service, legal services. So with those two right there, you know that there's an opportunity to increase revenue. So when I gave you the stats on how when an industry spikes, so does fraud, right? So if the industry is spiking, that means your opportunity to increase revenue is spiking. And it's not just spiking, it's doubling, it's tripling, it's going crazy because not only are you having the increase of the need, you got the fraud going on. And I'm not saying, because I've left the litigation world. I'm not saying that I want to be on the team chasing after these fraudulent people, but I definitely want to be there to serve. I want to be there to serve like that young man and his sister that lost out on their app. You know, I want to be there to serve those artists that just don't know and they put their creations up on social media and then some big conglomerate takes it, replicates it, prints it on canvas and they're mass selling it in their stores across the country. I want to be there to protect those people because what's going to happen if the creatives stop creating, right? And so by now, you should also know there's an answer. So when we talk about attorneys making mistakes, legal errors, that's because they don't understand the nuances of IP. It can take years, but we have a little program here that does reduce the years of study into mere months. I gave you the example of Samantha. I gave you the example of Shahar. They both went out into the world after only working with us for a few months, a couple months. I think one did 2 months and another one did 3, right? But remember, they weren't experienced attorneys. Shahar's experienced, of course, in Israel, but coming to the US was like starting fresh. And Samantha was definitely starting fresh, right? And those are people, attorneys out there that were able to take advantage of the answer that reduces years of study into mere months. So I'm gonna, of course, I can say join today. If you have questions, you can email us. You can call, you can schedule one-on-one with our trained team members. But also, I'm gonna go off screen because I want, yes, add us on social media, keep up to date with all things artworks and IP. But I'm gonna go off screen because I want Mr. Sten to jump in here and talk about, because I've been talking about how we're gonna reduce, you know, the years of study to mere months. Can you tell the people how I can do that?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I wish you would kick back your slides, 2 or 3 slides back up to those 4 benefit points before I share my screen. Would you mind back up a little bit?
Right here?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
So I think this is powerful because, one, thank you for um, sharing about. Let me move myself into the featured mode. How do I do that? 1 second. Here we are. No. Please share the screen back up, because I want to be able to hit that real quick. Could you put that back up for me? 1 second.
Sure.
You have done a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for your investment in this area, right? We know there's a demand for this. We know that there's so many attorneys that are out there that may have a desire because they are passionate about helping creatives, but never really had the expertise, right? We know there's attorneys that may be excited about this opportunity to transition from practice area A into practice area B. We know that you are demonstrating that there's a need for creatives, also for people who are creating businesses that really need competent, business support, competent representation. We know that there's an opportunity to increase practice revenue here. We know that there is an answer that reduces this, right? So you can stop sharing now. That answer is, of course, Artworks. And here's what we've done specifically for individuals who are really fitting in this category. Here's what we did. We made sure that we packaged this program perfectly, and we streamlined it into a self-study program, which means you can do this at your own pace, especially if you are a professional that's a working professional. You're an attorney that's practicing. You want to figure out how to add this to your repertoire, right? You're practicing currently. This is how you can do it. You can do it by simply purchasing one module, okay, of your choice. Or you can purchase 2 modules or all 3, right? That may be copyright, that may be trademark, or the patent, intro to patent module. That may be copyright and trademark. Each of them will give you various sessions that would include videos and assessments for you to know how well you're doing. Not only that, you will get group support. So each month you will have the opportunity to have group sessions where you can take the success from your assessments, and then you're going to apply the success from your assessments in group dialogue with other individuals that are training just like you. So you can really drill down and get the support. Not only that, you're going to get supportive one-on-one coaching once a month, so that coach that is an expert, probably Ms. Wasemi, her business strategy team, that will help you to be able to master and test and stress test and get those curious questions answered. I know that we have some questions in the chat. We're going to get to them. But I really want to drill down as to show you exactly what's packaged in this program. Okay. And so our goal here is mastery. And so there is a specialized training course that's included in this program that's just for client servicing, really showing you how to engage. So now that you've learned the trade in the copyright, now you learned the trade in trademarks processing, now you need to figure out the client's servicing aspect, right? How do you deal with these unique creative clients, right? These programs have been put together just for you. And let's go and take a look at real income potential based on what it's going to cost you. Real income potential based on what it's going to cost you to learn. Now, something like this should be cost $15,000, right? It's almost like taking law school all over again. It should cost, $20,000, $30,000. This is only $997 per module, which is incredible. And I think what Artworks have done here is Artworks put together a package that includes 3 video sessions, assessments for each to let you know how well you did, monthly group training, demonstration of the mastery through client servicing and case study scenarios, and one-on-one legal coaching support, okay, for $997. You can do that right now and get started. We'll pop that link right into the chat for you so that you can access that page right now. As well as, what's wonderful is you can also get 2. And I think this is the best value here, because really you can really master the art of copyright and trademark and cover a variety of industries and trades, right? Providing you with the same amount of service offerings. Okay, so we're going to provide those links right now for you. This is a special URL that we created specifically to allow individuals who've attended this presentation today to be able to access this. We'll make this available for a short period of time. Because Artworks was designed to be a support system, we know that it costs a lot to really put together this kind of valuable work. And so we've created this opportunity for someone to be able to have access to it at a really affordable rate, a reasonable rate that can get you started. But what's beautiful about this is understanding the return on that spend. Just one client on average, from a referral standpoint, can reach anywhere between a $500 to $2,000 service fee, legal fee. Okay. In the mainstream, this could be anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000, depending on what that service may be. So you know that you can see immediately that there's some incredible value here.
Well, sometimes you
where
also
I'm
have.
going to kick it back to Ms. Rusemi and bring her back forward.
No, I was just saying, no, put it back up.
I think you're muted.
Am I?
Go ahead.
Am I muted?
No, go ahead.
Okay, because I didn't mute myself. So I was looking at the screen you had up there. So you have one module or two, or any 2, like you could mix and match them.
Yeah, so you're able.
You could do trademark and copyright, or trademark and patent if you do the middle one there, and then you can do all 3 for 5,000, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I hadn't seen this before, but yeah. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you for putting that together in a way that makes it easy to see what the value is. And you're right. I'm so glad you pointed that out, right? Because at Artworks, we're not trying to collect. I always say we're not trying to collect clients. I always say that we're not trying to collect clients. So, you jump in there and you master copyright. I'm sure, after, we do some vetting, but I'm sure you can get some copyright clients that we could easily place with you. And that would definitely take care of what your initial investment is. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's why you're here to help me. Because I didn't even think of it that way. You're right. One client would definitely knock out this investment. Good point there.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to ask our support team. We did have questions popped in from one of the attendees, and one of the questions was
what's that at the bottom of the.
Can you hear me okay?
No, I was just saying, like, there's something at the bottom of the screen.
Well, we had a testimonial at the bottom of some of you hadn't mentioned these in your presentation, but some of the other individuals who've been in the full program, residency program, in the past, have shared some of their insight and experience. Zach Mercado and Miss Lasanya Thompson. And what's great about these individuals, they're in 2 different categories. Where one individual, Mercado, is actually somehow we're having a little viewing issue. I'm going to reload my page here. There we go. One individual is is actually working in litigation, and another individual, she's actually Lasanya Thompson, is actually an attorney who is practicing in film and runs her own film festival and film advocacy area, and they just sharing, their experience with the program and the training, and it's remarkable because what she says is, hey, I believe that Artworks is on the cusp and cutting edge when it comes to ways in which we can have collaborative projects. It focuses on how we can make the maximum conversation as well as expansion of a particular project, and to do it in such a way that the artists benefit, the team benefits, as well as all of those in the area of the ecosystem. And so, you can read that for yourself, but what's great about this is it shows the diversity that, as you shared about the other individual who went to work for, Sony on the music side, it shows an individual in film, it shows such diversity of how intellectual property can assist attorneys to really operate in a beautiful ecosystem of advocacy and protection for creatives.
Okay, thank you.
So I just want to, before, as we are wrapping up, I know we are right on time. I just want to add this one question that I see popped over. This individual said, after joining your program, I'm nervous if I'll be able to get my own clients. How will I be able to get clients? Maybe you can answer that for them.
Oh, it says, I'm nervous I'll be able to get my own clients. How will I be able to get clients? Oh, yeah. So what I was saying just a few seconds ago is that Artworks has, I want to say, created a name for itself. I don't know if I should put it that way, but we get clients that come through our doors every day. And Artworks is not in the business of collecting clients. So if you are a good fit for Artworks, we can definitely match you up with clients. Definitely, that getting clients is not the problem. I don't want anybody to think getting a clients is the problem. I just told y'all 172% increase in trademark applications on one website alone. One website alone. I'm saying 80% increase. This was just in the third quarter. We don't even have the numbers yet for the fourth quarter of 2020. I need to update this, grab those numbers. But from what I'm hearing from the U.S. Census, those numbers haven't gone down. 80% increase in business formation. Telling you, you do not need to worry about where you're going to get clients. But I can guarantee you, if you're a fit for Artworks, we can definitely match you up with one or two clients to just get you started. You do a good job for them. Happy clients refer. Happy clients get happy service, and they always refer. And a good attorney is like a good doctor. You don't go looking around for the next doctor for your next problem. You stick with your doctor. In fact, you don't even care if the doctor doesn't specialize in what you need. You're still going to go to that doctor so the doctor can give you a good, credible referral. This program teaches you how to build that kind of relationship with your clients so they continue to come back and they refer their friends, they refer their colleagues. So you're right. If we get, I don't want to say I, but I'm doing the vetting. So I'm like, if I can get you started with one or two clients, that knocks out your investment, but also gives you an opportunity to start building. And that's the bigger picture here, to start building, expanding, whether you're changing your practice area from something else, or you already have a firm that you're established and you want to add a new practice area, because who doesn't want to leverage this increase in business growth? That's one thing. Who doesn't want to leverage that? And two, we got to serve and protect. That's so important. We have to protect the creatives, and there's tons of them out there. And one thing that I failed to mention during the presentation, because I felt like I was geeking out a little bit talking about IP because I love this stuff so much. But this year was the 75th year anniversary of the Lanham Act, and President Joe Biden, or Joseph Biden, he issued a proclamation on World Intellectual Property Day 2021, and it was magnificent. I loved every word he said. I was almost feeling a little like, did he listen to some prior webinars that we've done here at Artworks, because it was damn near close to plagiarism. Um, I'm joking. But no, a lot of what he said is what we preach here. And I want to say two things, and then I'm going to kick it back over to Stennett. I want to say two things that he said in this proclamation. This proclamation won me over. He said the various types of intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, patents, and trade secrets help to ensure that small businesses will be compensated for and be able to prosper from their creations and their customer service. Like, they built their customer base and they don't have the protection. How do we leave them hanging out there? So he went on to say, without these protections, a small business success can easily prove to be its undoing, as unscrupulous competitors seek to copy, steal, and profit from that business's ideas and its hard-earned customer goodwill. Earlier in the proclamation, he said they make up 90% of business in the United States. You see how important these people are? He said they create 2/3 of new jobs, and they bring this is the drama part, and I love it, and they bring opportunity to every corner of our nation. He says inventions born in garages of small towns have just as much impact as those developed in high-tech labs. You see how he's trying to level the playing field? But he can't level the playing field but so much if there aren't enough lawyers to handle this. He said every small business starts with one person's dream. And when that dream is coupled with their grit and their determination, their brand protection, their creative work protection, when you take that dream, he says, this is President Biden said, when you take that dream and couple it up with our intellectual property system, then we have increased employment, we have economic prosperity for that person, for their family, for that community, and there are not enough lawyers out there to serve them. One other thing he said, and I am gonna let you go. He said when the pandemic hit, right? Singers, songwriters, artists from across America use their talents to uplift us and inspire us to support one another in these difficult times. Maybe you weren't aware of any new artistry out there, but you can even think about some old artistry that held you together. How many of you just sat back and put on a movie when you couldn't take it anymore? How many of you watched some comedy, right? How many? A lot, right? Copyright protection rewards these people for their creativity and allows them to continue to create. So listen, I always say, Biden. President Biden is saying this. The studies are saying, the U.S. Census Bureau is saying this. So for that person out there who's worrying about getting clients, trust me, Artworks in and of itself is overloaded with clients. We don't even have enough people within the program to serve these creatives. So President Biden is saying it, USPTO is saying it, WIPO is saying it. Don't worry about clients. That's one thing I can guarantee you will not have to worry about clients. And I'm gonna stop. Go ahead. Go ahead and close this out.
Man, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to say someone else just asked another question, and I did respond, but I want to just at least include it in our recording tonight. Is that Carolyn asked, one of the panelists asked as well, how long will these prices be available? And so I know that we talked about allowing this because I think we had another presentation coming up on so we would maybe allow it to be up until Friday. So I responded saying Friday at midnight. We'll
tomorrow?
Keep rates. Yeah, Friday. Yeah, is that right? Friday at midnight.
Next Friday or this Friday?
Oh, I thought it was this Friday. But if you're gonna let it extend to next Friday.
Well, that's a short amount of time.
All right. So Carolyn, next Friday, we'll be able to have those rates stay until next Friday. I know we have another presentation coming up, and so we'll have those rates be until next Friday at the end of that day, Friday at midnight, next Friday.
And I think it's important because I did get emails and stuff from people, new attorneys that wanted to ask their parents, uh, experienced attorneys that wanted to speak to their business partners. So let's at least give them the weekend to mull it over if necessary. Please.
All right, awesome. So thank you so much. We're gonna stop it here. We're going to allow for this to stay up until next Friday at 12 o'clock. Thank you very much. We're so excited about this opportunity where it allows more individuals, more attorneys to really access this resource that you've created for attorneys who want to transition into the intellectual property space and grow their practice. Thank you so much.
Can we do something with that that sales page or whatever that says exactly what we said today? Like it's almost a money back guarantee, like within the first 6 weeks to 2 months that you do get your money back and more than likely double or triple.
Absolutely.
I think we need to add that.
We'll update that there.
That's a guarantee.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to sign off. We thank you all. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop it in. Otherwise, we're going to bid you a good day, and thank you so much for joining us.